This is Hard Parking, brought to you by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Of course, I am your host, Jhae Pfenning. It's almost time for Monterey Car Week. Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock, will be coming into town, and we will go and spend our weekend together at the Acura reception. We will go to the Quail on Friday, probably hit up Laguna Seca, watch the Rolex. I think it's like the 50th year anniversary of Rolex Historics. Maybe go check out Johnny Valencia and his crew at Exotics on Broadway. He was on the show a few weeks ago. You know, we used to talk about pet peeves. I used to have the random thought of the week. Every once in a while, I still put it in there. But then other times I'm just kind of chilling and I decided to jot down something that I'm thinking about so I can talk about it on the show. Before that, coming up in a little bit, Mr. Wes Tankersley. If you guys are familiar enough with this show that you'll know that he comes on every once in a while. He recently took a trip to San Francisco to watch a baseball game. He rented a vehicle. There's the hook. We're going to learn about the vehicle that he rented. For the rest of you, you know him from One Drink Wednesday, which we do every Wednesday on Instagram Live. So he's definitely a friend of the show. But I got this thing. So it's, I got to work on being more patient with people. Like everybody who knows me well knows I hate repeating myself. My wife, of all people, knows it. She used to ask me every time she would plug her phone up to the computer, how do you back your phone up on iTunes? Which isn't really a thing anymore, although I still do it. You can do it, but everything's, designed to be managed in the cloud. But it's this thing where I like helping people. I like helping you if you have a question. But if you ask me the same question and I've already answered it and it's not a difficult answer to remember, then I start getting annoyed. There's the person who asks you for everything also instead of taking 2 seconds to look it up themselves. Like half the answers to these questions that certain people ask me, it's like either A, pay attention the first 3 times I told you, or B, go online because you'll find the answer really fast. They're not complicated questions. They're questions that are easily answered if you just rub a couple brain cells together instead of wasting my time having me tell you again for the 5th or 6th time. And then I feel kind of, then it's like, God, Jay's kind of an asshole. Well, no, it's like, again, I love to help people, but once it becomes a habit, then you start falling way down on my shit list. You start circling the drain really fast is what I'm trying to tell you. Bugs the hell out of me. So in preparation for Monterey Car Week, I decided to go shopping. Got to get an outfit. This is one of these things I'm kind of known for when I do go to the Acura reception, which I don't go every year, but I've been most of the years. First year, I had like a triple piece suit on. I was looking fly. People thought I was somebody, even though I'm nobody. I'm just some guy. Because there's definitely somebody's there. Second year, not quite as fancy, but still pretty nice. Third time, every time I seem to get, I'm pretty fancy, but I alter it. Last year I wore a pair of jeans, some really nice jeans, some brand new all white Adidas, and a long, like a button-up shirt. Kind of casual, but kind of nice looking. This year I'm going to be wearing a very similar outfit. Just went out and bought some brand new jeans, some Joe's. You guys familiar with Joe's? Joe's? I bought Joe's jeans at Nordstrom Rack. Jeans are one of those things where it's kind of, what you like, what fits versus what doesn't fit. A few years ago, I was on this kick where I was destined to find really nice pair of jeans without breaking the bank. Because I think of guys, they say every guy should have 2 pair of jeans at least. 2 pair of jeans that you can wear with almost anything. Girls, who knows? They got 50 maybe. But I went out and I bought like 5 or 6 pair of jeans. All different. You try them all on and they fit. They feel good. Some definitely feel better than others. I think I bought like one of the best Levi you can buy. Because Levi jeans do have, they have a whole range full of, you can buy a new pair of Levi for $45. You can buy a new pair of Levi for $75. They're not cheap anymore. That's right, $70 for a pair of Levi's jeans. but I've bought some that were really nice. I do this thing, like anybody else that wants to know what's out there. You Google it and it's like, hey, what are the top 10 most comfortable jeans? What are the top blah, 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 blah. So I settled on them. And what I realized is like some of the most expensive, comfortable jeans out there, you've probably never heard of. Not if you're like me. I mean, if you're rolling with those circles, maybe, like Dwayne, who's going to go to Monterey with me. He's one of those guys where he always pulls some weird brands out of his ass. I've never heard of them before. Expensive as shit. We went to some like winter store, when I lived in Michigan, and we're walking around and it's like, okay, well, Patagonia, right? And North Face. Like everybody knows North Face, which I think North Face is pretty expensive. Patagonia, pretty expensive. But there's some brands in there like Patagonia that I never heard of. And it's like, is that a $400 sweater? He's like, yep. Oh, I'm going to buy these pants. I'm looking at these pants and he didn't buy no pants, but it's like, they look like regular ass khakis, but these are like $300 pants. Like there's that, like there's so many brands out there. And this isn't a fashion podcast. This is a hard parking, non-automotive podcast where I can talk about whatever I want, like jeans for Car Week. So there's your automotive. Anyway, so I tried all these different pair of pants on and Joe's is a brand that I decided I like. It's like Joe's Brixton jeans. Brixton, Brixton, like Brixton Forged, the wheel company. So I grabbed 3 pair of Joe's, a dark gray, a light kind of an acid washy gray, and like this weird light blue, but not like light denim blue. Some other like, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it was all blue. And I put the blue ones on first. And I was like, shit, man, these things are tight as fuck. Like, I don't remember that. But I could see my legs. They're like Superman legging blue, like cartoon. I could see my leg muscles. And I don't even have leg muscles. It's like, okay, no, I shouldn't be able to see my quads through these pants. And then I looked at the little tag on them and I realized those were Joe's Slim. The other 2 I grabbed were Brixton. So I was like, oh, okay, Brixton. Put the Brixton on, they're nice. But yeah, they're like $80 at Nordstrom Rack. And that, years ago, like I could never spend $80 on a pair of jeans. Like another pair of nice jeans I have is 7 jeans, what they're called. 7 for Mankind is their style, like Brixton is the style for the Joe's. And I bought those off of eBay. They were used. I heard they were a good jean. I was like, all right, well, went online. I'm like, fuck, those are like $200-$300. I'm not spending that for jeans. So I bought those on eBay for like $50. I tried them on. I was like, holy shit, these are nice. So yeah, there's the thing. For those of you thinking all jeans are the same, they're not. But it's really, what works best for you, honestly, at the end of the day. So can't wait to rock my outfit, Monterey Car Week. But yeah, so I was walking past a mirror. And there's nothing worse. Like, I need to lose weight. I looked at the mirror and, like, I always wear a large shirt, but the larges seem to be getting smaller lately. And so I grabbed, like, the large button-up shirt, short sleeve, like a summer shirt. But looking at that mirror, I thought I was in a fun house. Looked like a fun house photo of me. Need to get on the treadmill. Like, most people, they look at me and they're like, wow, man, you work out? No, I don't. You're obviously not looking at me at the right angles. Or you are looking at me at the right angles, but not the real angles. The angles my wife gets to see. She tells me I need to work out. I always tell her she's fat shaming me. She's not. Because you get to a certain point where you start throwing out all the clothes that don't fit you anymore. They don't fit me anymore because I've outgrown them. They fit me because I'm no longer, they don't fit me anymore because I'm no longer in shape. So I need to get my life together. Coming up, we're going to get into a little bit of car news. And after that, Wes Tankersley. Jhae Pfenning here. And I want to tell you guys about 4 Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4 Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. The truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4 Wheel Online. So you guys know I'm a big fan of the Rivian trucks. We've talked about the Rivian EVs on here. Rivian loses nearly $2 billion in its second quarter as expenses mount. So that is a $2 billion reported loss. Now, this is on MSN, and actually it's in a lot of places, but this specific article is on MSN.com. It says here, earnings results. Rivian Automotive Incorporated late Thursday reported a narrower than expected quarterly loss, but called for steeper losses for the year. Warned about ongoing supply chain snags and saw rising expenses, sending the stock lower in the extended session. So that $2 billion is about, it's really $1.7 billion or $1.89 a share. I think they're on pace to lose $5 billion this year. That's a lot. Another interesting thing, though, is despite the losses reported, they've actually exceeded their estimated goal of sales, doing 25,000 trucks this year. According to this article, they're still thinking that if Rivian's going to be a big player in the EV world. They had 98,000 pre-orders on the books from customers in the USA and Canada. So the demands are still there. It's just super weird. But before you, because everybody's been kind of making fun of Rivian because of this. And I think I even heard Matt, maybe, don't quote me on this, but maybe Matt Moderator had said that, they've got too much money into these vehicles for what they're selling them for. They should be selling them for more. That's what it sounds like. But it's kind of a hard thing to push. And for those of you super duper Tesla fans out there, this year or last year, for you Tesla fans out there, last year, Tesla reported its first full year profit. First profit, a feat 18 years in the making. Wow. So while Rivian is in its first year, they've lost $2 billion, basically. It took Tesla 18 years to turn a profit. Tesla hasn't had to deal with, in the past, the same supply chain management issues or the raw materials costs that everybody else has in the last couple of years. In fact, as a t-shirt maker myself, I can tell you that I was doing some pricing for a friend, and I went to take a look at how much the price had changed. So I went to my order history, and I said, okay, I want to reorder these shirts. So for the block of shirts that I had ordered back in May, it cost about $275. That same exact cluster of shirts was almost $400. That is insane, because that couldn't have been more than like 60 shirts. Look at that math. It's affecting everybody. If fucking t-shirt costs. So yeah, I get it. I get why Rivian is losing all this money. But at the same time, as a sense of perspective, like I said, it took Tesla 18 years to make a penny. Also in car news, not really car news, but you guys know Drew Bunkley, friend of the show, formerly of Fountain Hills Motorsports, now Westgate Exotic Cars and Rentals. So he had posted a reel with, back when I picked up my NSX Type S, and, he's a big Corvette C8 guy. So he's got, a lot of Corvette C8 people following his page, and just the comments from the uneducated is insane. Everyone's like, oh, it's one thing. You could say the NSX is ugly if you want. A lot of people say the Corvette is ugly. I think the Corvette has some nice angles. I think the NSX has some nice angles, even if you think it's ugly. But, people were saying, oh, they should put a twin turbo in there, or they should swap. It's like, dude, you guys, the amount of people who talk, who have no idea what they're actually talking about is hilarious. And it's hard to not comment. That person inside of me wants to be like, oh, actually, but there's no point. The next debate, the next conversation you win on social media will be the first one. The next one that matters will be the first one. I decided a long time ago, especially on Facebook. Oh my gosh. trying to change someone's mind on a Facebook post, there's no use. If it's a personal friend, drag them to the side, drag them to the direct messages, and have a conversation with them. Hash it out. Don't have a fight with somebody on their wall. Anyway, I kind of swayed off over the car news, but that is your car news. Wes Tankersley, welcome back to the show. It's not like we don't talk to each other a lot because we do have the One Drink Wednesday that we do every Wednesday, 7 o'clock Pacific on Instagram Live. Before we get to your car rental, how was your weekend? You went to San Francisco and went to the game?
Yeah, I went to, we went to go visit, part of the whole reason we went down there was to go visit family, which not my family, my wife's family. So that's always interesting in itself. They're divorced and stuff. So the parents are divorced and everyone's trying to pull everyone every way. So it's not vacation. It's a pain in the ass. It sucks. And so we did that. The main reason I wanted to go down there was to go see the Giants play. So we went and did that yesterday night, which was, it was a very fun, like I got to take my son who's 7 months old to his first game. It was super cool to do that. We walked into like the dugout store and pulled out the not the fitted, but like New Era makes a hat for little kids, and it says my first.
No kidding.
On the tag instead of like the size.
It's adorable.
So it was super cool. And the guy behind the counter was he was so excited to see Nolan. He's just like, oh man, baby. And he's like, look at the hat, look at the tag. He was like telling me all about it. I'm like, I had to look down because I didn't even look at the tag. And I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. Couldn't take that tag off.
Now you said yesterday night.
Yep. So the game was a night game.
Why didn't you say last night?
I don't know. That's a good question. I just said,
oh man, recording this on a Sunday night. So you went on Saturday.
Yep.
How'd it go with the family? Good.
You know, it was a super cool game because, like I was saying, I got to take Nolan the first one, but we always go with my wife. Always wants to involve or ask her family if they want to go, and they all want to go, but they don't want to pay for the good seats, which pisses me off because I got a brand new knee in November, and it's a hassle going up all these stairs and everything. And we did all that. And then my wife picked out the tickets. They're in like section 317, but like halfway up to the very top on the top section. And then we're stuck in between like three people. So she didn't think to get us like an aisle so that we were on the end, because everyone wants to go in and out, go get beer, go get garlic fries, go get all that stuff. So you're constantly standing up and letting the people shimmy past you. There's not a whole lot of room.
And you're a bigger guy too. You're a tall guy.
Yeah, it sucks. I was looking down. I was talking to my brother-in-law because I was looking down to the seats that I wanted to sit in, as you can see them. And I'm like, look at all that room that they have. Like you can see, like it may not be much more. It may be like 3 or 4 inches, but it's more. And when you're 6'3" and you're hanging out in these seats, it's so uncomfortable. My knee hurt the whole time. It was the same thing on the plane flight, down there, because I was flying Southwest down there, which I'll tell you, and you probably know this already, but I flew Alaska back, and I would way rather fly Alaska than Southwest any day.
Why is that? Southwest is like perfect for people like you traveling with Micronians.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing, right? Southwest is great because you get like 2 free check bags. But I was traveling by myself, and my wife had gone down there a little bit earlier.
Oh.
And then I went down on Thursday and then came back today, and they're coming back on Tuesday. So that in itself sucks.
Right. Hold on. Did you remember to check in on time, or did you get stuck at like C50?
Well, so the first day I checked in on time. So I was like in the second boarding group. I was in the A group, but I was like A49, and they go 1 through 30.
31 through 60. That's still good though.
Yeah, it was good. And I found a seat and I was good and everything. It's just like there was just less room for your knees, and then we're sitting next to someone. That flight was completely packed, and it was uncomfortable because the guy who was sitting next to me was bigger too. He wasn't as wide as I was, but he's a tall, kind of taking up space, sitting right next to me.
It's the shoulders. That's the thing with me. It's just because Yvette's always like, well, you always get the window, and I always get stuck in the middle. I go, because I can't sit on the aisle because my shoulders are so broad. Yeah. You're getting smacked. Or last time that we flew, we had to sit in different, because we were like B80 or some shit. And so we're like in front of each other. And it's the same deal. When you sit next to someone else with big shoulders.
I didn't even think about that because that's exactly what happened. So today I sat next to someone, even though I didn't have to. But on Alaska, they give you seat numbers, right? So I was sitting next to some little girl. She was little, but she's, little lady, I guess I should say. She was tiny, sitting right next to me, and she didn't take any of my space. So it was, plus the seats were way more comfortable. I mean, there's nothing comfortable about flying anyway, but I don't know. It almost makes me want to fly first class. I don't know how much more that costs, but I'll tell you what, it might be worth it for me.
Well, it's $0 on Southwest.
Yeah, because they don't got it.
So that makes sense. So you, but you know what? I never thought about that. I don't go to games.
Yeah.
But even when we pick, the only thing close to picking seats I can think of is the movies. And I never think, I guess in the movies it's different, right? Because the movies you want to be like right in the middle at the top. But you're right, man. Right. Sitting on the aisle at any event, like large people event, that's smart. I never would have thought about that.
Yeah, and I didn't either. And then my brother-in-law, he didn't buy the tickets because he usually gets them. He's like, I'll train Christine next time. And I'm like, you're not going to train Christine next time because I'm not doing this again. I'm going to go myself. I'll pay for the $100 seats and I'll go sit down on the lower level because that's where I want to sit.
Yeah, so that's another question, right? So you mentioned going with people who don't want to pay a little extra for better seats. How much does it cost to go to a Major League Baseball game?
Well, those tickets were $36. They used to be really cheap. They used to be 18, but they're 36.
Okay.
It's not a bad view because I posted some pictures on Instagram and it's not a bad view. And that's when I say there's not a bad seat in a house. I mean, as far as visually, there's not a bad seat in that place. But as far as comfortability, I don't even know if that's a word. It's not
comfortability. Comfortability. I think it is.
Okay. I thought maybe I might have made that up.
I think it is. Yeah. Well, I got your back. Yeah. Well, I was just curious because if a good seat makes it not a bad seat in the house, there's definitely bad seats in the house in NFL games.
Yeah, for sure.
A good seat is what? I'm not talking, right behind the. What's a decent seat?
Probably about 100. You could probably do 80 to 100 and get they call it club level.
Okay, yeah.
Get a club level seat and for 80 to 100.
So the average ticket price for an NFL game is $151, and that's what. So when you're saying 30, it's like, Wes, we're gonna go. You go, yeah. How much is it? It's $100. Done.
Yep.
Done.
But not these people. And that was the thing. Is she wants to go with her family, and they're like, no, that's too much, and they don't care. See, that's the thing. The level of how much I care about it versus how much they care about it is completely different. I know most people don't like baseball, but I love it, and I love the Giants, and I'm planning on coming down there in September to go watch them play in Arizona because I just don't want to go to California.
We're gonna go to a game. I'm going because it's you. I don't hate baseball. I just don't care about it, if that's fair. But I do pay attention, and even in that, though, I would want good seats.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what I'm going to find. I mean, we'll just figure it out, and we'll sit somewhere where it'll be comfortable for both of us.
Yeah,
we'll see if we can find something for Turkey if he goes. The only thing that's Turkey Garcia, one of our main guys on One Drink Wednesday. The only thing that's comparable, and I understand where you're coming from, is, remember I told you we went to go see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness when we were in Michigan with a couple of our cousins. They liked the movies. I didn't realize how, this is how you know if someone's really into it. We walk in and the seats that they bought are the very bottom row right in front of the screen. Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, what? And we were late.
Yeah.
And that was our fault. But, Yvette's like, I don't know if I really like the movie, because she tells everyone she's a diehard MCU fan, but she doesn't know anything.
Right.
If I say, hey, Star-Lord, did you see that thing with Star-Lord? Who's Star-Lord? I'm like, Star-Lord, Guardians of the Galaxies. I don't really pay attention. But then it's like, how do you not know? He's like one of the main characters in the whole fucking thing. It's baffling to me. If I say Steve Rogers, she might know now, but before she'd be like, who? Captain America. That's his name. I don't know his name.
Right.
It's like, okay.
You die hard.
Right, exactly. But you must have rented a car. What'd you rent?
Yeah, so it's funny. I have never, like, I think usually my brother-in-law rents them for us. Like, he just rents them and we pay him for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I rented through Costco for the first time. I don't know if you've ever done that before.
No, I have not.
It was great because I got a free upgrade. So, like, I went in there going to get like a compact SUV, kind of like a CRV or something, and ended up with a mid-sized Toyota 4Runner. So it was pretty cool to get that. They asked me, they said, you want a 4Runner or a Ford, what was it, Edge, I think is the other one.
First off, that's a ridiculous question. And I guess the only difference is if they just think you just need a tiny, tiny micro crossover SUV, because I imagine there's a lot of people who don't want a 4Runner. Yeah. But anybody who knows anything about vehicles is going to take a 4Runner 100% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, screw this. I don't want a Ford anyway. Like I'm a Chevy guy. So like, I'm so diehard Chevy that if it was a Ford, like I'd take it, but I'd like, if I'm offered something other than a Ford, like if it was a Kia, I would have taken the Kia. I hate Ford.
So you're that guy. You're the guy. I've used you, not you specifically, but that guy as an example when I'm trying to talk about one auto. I said, it's about, but the difference is you at least, I think you can look across and be like, that's a nice looking Ford, but I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Like, I don't want that oval on my, it's not that I don't like, like Mustangs are awesome. I saw a Ford Lightning when I was down there, one of the new ones. I was like, oh, wow. Because they look just a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like they're not bad looking. It's just, I love Chevy.
Well, some people are like, there's all Fords are ugly. I'm like, what? Like you don't have to like them or drive them, but they're not all ugly. And if you're a hardcore Ford guy, you can't say every Chevy or GM is ugly because you're insane.
Right. Well, I mean, there's some really cool Ford cars, and I'm not, if you're going to give me the option between a Toyota and a Ford, I'm taking a Toyota any day.
Yeah. So, sorry, back to you. So you grabbed a 4Runner?
Yep. So I grabbed the 4Runner, went out and got it, kind of took a look around it. There was a little ding in the front door. I don't know what that does. Is like, either it's like, are they going to charge me for it? So I took pictures and then I jumped in it and took off. And it rode pretty nice. My wife kept saying it rode like my Jeep. And I was like, no, it did not. It does not even ride anything like my Jeep. I mean, I think we were talking about this, how it's on a pickup chassis, but it's not a pickup, right? It's an SUV. And there was a couple things that I didn't like. I'm sitting there thinking, what's Jay going to want to know about this thing? And there was just a couple things that really bugged me. The first thing I always check is CarPlay, right? Because no CarPlay, no Jay. And that's something I always think about.
Yes.
And it had CarPlay, so we were great. It didn't have, I don't know if it had wireless CarPlay because I didn't hook it to my phone. There's a lot of people who hook it to their phone, and I just had my
here's the deal. Moving forward, and this is what I've discovered, and I could be wrong, but just based on what I've discovered so far, if you can't get the CarPlay to come up, chances are it's wireless CarPlay. Because you have to pair your car with the vehicle first, then you have the option of going wired or wireless.
Yeah, and I didn't even take that chance, but I do know that when I looked at it this morning, I was pressing something, and like it said connect to a phone, and I was like no, but I hit the button just to see, and there was like 20 phones in there, so people have left their phone connected to it, instead of wiping it out, and I would usually clear it, after I got done.
I forgot about that. Wes, I forgot all about that because that used to be one of my gripes when I would rent a car every week is people pair their phone to their car and then they don't unpair it. And it's not like it really, with some cars, it's like you can only pair 10 phones or whatever. So then you have to kind of go through and delete other ones to pair yours.
Yeah. In a car that you don't know what you're doing. So half the time is spent trying to figure out how to delete the phone out of there.
Yeah.
If you couldn't do it.
I had one of those. I think last time we were in California, actually. Yeah, we were in California. We had a 4Runner.
Yeah.
And this one we went to Disneyland last November.
Okay.
And it was the same deal. I just driving that thing, and it just, to me, it felt like a truck, obviously, because it's built on a truck chassis. But, as an SUV lover, they feel different.
Yeah, they definitely feel like, so we have a Pilot, right? And I don't think you can really compare anything that Toyota has to what Honda has, because it's like
Maybe a
for
RAV4
SUV stuff. Yeah, RAV4 and CRV maybe, right?
Yeah.
Well, RAV4's got big. I guess they got some stuff because they got that new. There's another one, not a RAV4, but my brother just got one. That's the next one in between the 4Runner. I can't remember what it's called.
Sequoia?
No, Sequoia is the big one.
Oh,
that's the one on the Tundra chassis. But anyway, the Pilot's low to the ground and it's smooth riding and whatever. But this it rides like a truck, like you said. Like you can feel it move and flex. Probably a little bit more bumpy than like my work truck, but it's got a narrower wheelbase, so it's going to be that way, But it wasn't an uncomfortable ride, and this thing was leather. It was a TRD edition. The things that I didn't like about it that was interesting was that like the shifter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Toyota shifter has been the same forever. It's got like all the little notches in it and stuff. And so like you have to move it over and then get it in the right notch or whatever and pull it down, the automatic shifter, which that drives me crazy because it never like just shifts easily. Like my mom so our Pilot has the push button stuff because it's the black edition, but my mom has the shifter in it. It's like you pull the button back and then you just drop it where it goes. Well, this one you got to push the thumb button in and then move it around and drag it around all those little notches, which gets annoying when you're trying to make 3-point turns. Like it wasn't my brother and sister-in-law's driveway all the time. Just like the shifting is kind of funky. And then the window buttons are like way up on the top.
Yes. How long did it take you to find them?
It didn't take me long, but I was annoyed every time I had to go to them because it was like, you got to really like lift your arm up to get to them.
It's not ergonomic.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that was annoying, but those were like really the only two gripes I had about the thing. I mean, it was really nice. It was comfortable. It fit the car seat in it well. My wife was comfortable in the front. It just didn't, like third row is always nice because if we're going to the game, it would have been nice for everyone to go in it, but it doesn't have one. But overall, I mean, it was a comfortable ride. I didn't mind looking out the window and seeing it there. I mean, it's not ugly by any means. But it is like you said, it looks like a Toyota pickup with a cab on it.
So you drive around a pickup all day for work.
Yep.
Very, very nice one. And then you own a very nice one. You own a nicer version of the same model that you drive around. Now, so you were always kind of up. Now, did the 4Runner also feel like you were up on top of the world, or did it feel lower, or did you not notice?
No, actually, that's one thing that I did notice is it looks like it's taller and it feels like it's taller. I would say that it's very similar. Now that you say that, I'd like to go park my truck next to one and see if they're like the same level. I mean, it might be a little bit lower, but it sits up and it's, like the Pilot, like I was telling you, it's low to the ground, but this thing looks like it's 4-wheel drive, I mean, it really sits up.
Well, your truck is a truck, but it probably drives kind of like a nice SUV, or does it drive like a truck?
It drives.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I would say that it drives like a nice SUV.
Yeah.
Chevy's known for like kind of having that nice, smooth, like comfortable ride. Right. And Ford kind of has that same suspension, I think, too. But I think that Chevy, like, they make their seats nicer and they're a little bit more comfortable to sit in. They're not like a truck. But suspension-wise, I mean, I would say honestly that both of my work trucks were a nicer, smoother ride than that 4Runner.
Toyota Highlander is what we're looking for earlier.
Yep. Is it Highlander?
It's
Highlander. I think you're right.
Yep. I went to their website while we were talking. I was like, what is that damn thing?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's a Highlander.
Yeah, so it's like RAV4, Highlander, 4Runner, Sequoia, I think.
Yeah, because they
That's
dropped
kind
the
of how it
Land
goes.
Cruiser.
Yep. I don't know. I would rent one of those again. I have no problems with that 4Runner. It was a nice ride.
Would you buy one?
No, because I'm never in the market for something that small. Like the Pilot is similar, but I don't know. If like I had to pick between the Pilot and like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a 4Runner, I'd probably go buy a Highlander.
Sure.
It's just not. My wife would never. That would be my wife's car, right? And she wouldn't like it. It just wouldn't be something that she would drive. Because she straight up said it drove like the Jeep, and like right then and there, that tells me that the reason why I have a new pickup sitting out front is because if she didn't like the way the Jeep rode. Plus, it was a little uncomfortable as far as like having the kid and stuff in there. Oh, dude. So while we were down there, we went to Monterey, and you'll have to check. I don't know if you're going to go on the wharf at all when you're down there next week, but there was up against. Have you been to the wharf before when you've gone there?
I want to say yes. I went there with the vet once.
Okay.
When we were coming back.
When you go to walk into the wharf, there's like a bunch of boats moored there, and then you keep walking around the corner, and there was like probably 150 sea lions like up right against the railing.
Oh, your post. Are these sea lions or what'd you say?
Or seals. I'm pretty sure they were sea lions, and someone else told me that too because they had ears. Because I guess sea lions have ears and seals don't, but they have these little tiny little ear flaps you could see. But they freaking stunk. They smelled like fish, and they're not fish. Like they smelled bad.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I slammed a bunch of stickers up around Monterey Bay. There's if you go on the walking path, you can see some Shaping Success stickers.
Nice.
They don't pull them down very often, I don't think. And then I also slapped a couple by the ballpark, so some peeps can see that.
I gotta do that too. So Jen, let me ask you this question. So Jen asked, this is tough. What is one thing you want to let go of this year?
Ooh, that
right.
is a tough one.
It's very tough.
I'm just trying to think about like for me, it's I want to try to be more forgiving. So I want to let go of like my shitty attitude, which I've tried. Like I've been working on that for like 3 years. Like today was a prime example. Like I was so pissed off about the flight today being delayed, about trying to get the rental car back, and then sitting at the airport for 5 hours before I actually got on my plane that was supposed to take off at 2:30. And I took it out on my wife, and it wasn't her fault that the plane got delayed. She didn't delay the plane, and I apologized for it, which doesn't happen very often because I'm kind of a dick.
I see. That makes sense.
That's kind of where if I was going to let go of something, it would just be my shitty attitude when it gets shitty.
But it takes work, right? Because
100%.
You do it without even realizing, and then it's too late.
Yeah.
It's like I get in trouble all the time for being snappy.
Yep.
You don't realize you're snappy until after you've snapped.
Yep.
And it's like,
That's a thing. Like, I know with like my podcast, it's about helping other people be successful, but like on the growth that I've had on TikTok has been from all these positive posts that I've made that are, basically me talking myself through the negative situation. Like this is like you and I talk on a daily basis. We've talked about this before. It's like something happens at work and I get upset and I'm talking to you about it. And I don't think it through. And it's nice to talk to you about it because you're like, well, think about this and think about that. And then like, it's once you really think it through, and that's really it. It's like making that snappy decision, right? Like you said, you just snap. You're just like, well, this is my first go-to answer. This is the first thing I would think of instead of going, well, let's think about this in a different way. It's like reading comments. Like I have to read comments like 2 or 3 times before I respond because the first response is this person's coming after me, and then I read it again and it's like, oh no, they're not. They're they're saying something and I misinterpreted the way that they said it, and then I realized that it's don't make that snap decision, to be like, block, I hate you.
Right. No, that's good. Yeah, I would say that for me, it's letting go of the small stuff. Like, don't sweat the small stuff. Like, for example, like I said this earlier, that we have to watch Marcelo's dogs.
Right.
And again, and the thing is, he didn't get them fixed. He didn't get them professionally trained. They're fucking insane when they're together. And all his dog sitters have quit on him. Right. They don't want to watch his dogs anymore. So then we get to watch them. Now, is it going to kill us to watch his dogs again? And I loved, me, I love dogs.
Right.
But it's not, it's like, it's not their fault, but it's the situation. And I got to not sweat the situation, because at the end of the day, my wife's always going to say yes when he wants us to watch the dogs.
Yep. And
the inconvenience is, okay, he has to come over. He's going to have to set up the cage. I'm not moving shit in the garage. He's going to have to do all that stuff. And he will. He'll do it. And then I just have to just not care.
Right.
I have to not care when they start digging holes in my backyard, which, by the way, last time we were gone and Jaylene watched them and she did a good job. I was worried about that.
Oh, shit.
They still started digging little holes in the backyard. There's like a little crater back there.
Uh-huh.
And they're not even out there for more than like a couple hours.
Right.
But I can't care about stuff that no one else seems to care about.
Yeah, and I don't, that stuff's not going to change, right?
Right. That's the thing. It's the small stuff. It's not going to change.
Yep. So if it's not going to change, and that's kind of the same thing along those lines. It's like, just start focusing on things that matter, because as much as you don't want, like I was telling you about my sister-in-law's dog, like they watched our dog this weekend. As much as I don't want to watch that dog, my wife will do it if she asks her to. She's going to do it. Well, they've watched Buster. And I'm like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
The dog is 5 pounds. This is a 100-pound husky dog that sheds all over the place, and we're going to have dog hair all over everything. And I'm grateful that she watched our dog, but it's like, it's not the same thing,
Well, the thing is, he has a roommate, and his roommate has a dog, and his roommate used to be one of his good friends.
Uh-huh.
And they bought a house together, and they're renting the house out, and they're doing all that kind of stuff. But it's like, you try to tell them it's not a good idea to get in with your buddy on something like that. As you're starting to develop what life is from the age of 18 to 26, things change, situations change. And now it's at the point where like their friendship is on the fritz. And he'd rather bring the dogs over here than leave the dogs at the house with someone at the house that can help actually watch the dogs. Because I guess the dogs all fight because none of them are fixed.
Yeah.
It's just a bad situation.
Well, and it's too late now to fix them because they're old enough where you can do it, but it's not going to do the thing that you're trying to get the fixing to do.
But the other guy's dog is some 2-year-old insane puppy that's trying to kill every other dog on the planet. Like he's taking off chunks off of Marcelo's dogs. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's like you said. You gotta, like, dogs are an investment. It's funny. My parents' dog passed away this last week. They had to put her down, and I show up at my in-laws' house, and they have the same exact dog. It's like lab.
Mm-hmm.
At least labs are always like, they just want to play is all they want. But like, they're jumping all over everything. They're kicking everything. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I got a dog, I never wanted a dog. Like, it's not that I'm not a dog person. It's just I don't like cleaning up after him. And my daughter wanted one really bad. And I was like, all right, if we get one, we're going to get one that is tiny because I'm going to be the one who cleans up after him. I know it.
So funny you say that.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Yep. So we got this little tiny Morkie, and he's kind of easy to clean up after. So he doesn't shed, and he doesn't eat a lot. And I don't know where he's at right now. He's downstairs. He's pouting because he's not seen us for a while. But
yeah, in any event.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I think that's it's similar things that we need to work on, right? We need to give up, just control the things you can. You can't stop your wife from wanting to help her son and take care of those dogs. So there's nothing you can really do about it.
It's not that I don't want to help him.
Yeah.
But I'm more accountability driven, and he knows. He's as smart as they come. He knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she doesn't want to be the bad guy ever.
Yep.
Unless it's to me.
But is she okay with you being the bad guy?
No one's okay with me being the bad guy, Wes. Anyway, I'll see you on One Drink Wednesday.
Yes. Oh, we're going to have Forged in Fire Emilio Carbajal,
Forged in Fire. Wes Tankersley is hosting this week. I would say not that it mattered. It used to matter more. Yep. Remember, it used to matter more because we couldn't collaborate on a post.
Yeah.
Now we can collab. So even if you host or I host, it still posts to both of our story or both of our pages at the end of the day. And then also, by the way, Instagram has this thing. I went to post a video on the One Auto page, and it says videos are now automatically posted as reels.
Oh, that's a game changer. They're trying to push that reels. They're trying to keep up with TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's a way for them to do that. So like if you did a video and you made it a post, it would go to a reel.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Now I wonder, because Instagram is kind of weird. Like I'll have something on one of my logins, but not the other.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was from the One Auto page.
Yeah, because you can do like badges and stuff and subscriptions on yours because you got 10,000, but I can't because I only have like 26.
Yeah. So anyway, this Wednesday, 7:00 Pacific, every Wednesday, 7:00 Pacific time. One Drink Wednesday with myself and Mr. Wes Tankersley. Thanks for jumping in, telling us about your 4Runner and your trip. And I'm sorry, the reason why I wasn't there was because Monterey Car Week, they moved the dates and it screwed everything up for everyone. Next week, or actually this week coming up, I'll be in Monterey with Dwayne. And the next episode, we'll be recapping that.
Yep. Where are you flying to? You flying to San Jose or you flying to Monterey?
Monterey.
You got to, was it cheap this time?
I use points, air miles.
Okay. I saw a big plane coming out of that airport when I was sitting at the wharf, and I was just like, man, the airport must be getting bigger. So it's nice to be able to just fly straight there. I don't think Boise has one that's a straight flight there, though. I think you got to go to San Jose and then get on another plane to Monterey.
Yeah, it's not a big airport, but it's big enough. I think American and I don't know who else flies there.
Yep. Cool, man. We'll have fun.
All right. See ya.
Later.
I want to thank Wes for jumping on. That conversation was brought to you by Cell Shop Wireless Services. Tell you what, man, like we have such a good time on One Drink Wednesday, and he's wanting to move it to a different platform. You know, Instagram Live hasn't picked up the way we really wanted it to, and we've been doing it for over a year. But we do have the loyal people who listen in every week, who watch us. Sometimes they get on their stage with us and talk and have a drink. But if we wanted to grow, he's talking about maybe going to TikTok. I refuse to get on TikTok. I'm not a TikToker, although I probably would do well on it. You know, maybe, Facebook, maybe YouTube. You know, if we did our One Drink Wednesday. But I don't know, man. It's just not for me. But that's the reason why it doesn't grow. Well, we talked about maybe making a logo, making some shirts and stuff. Speaking of shirts, you can get the Hard Parking Podcast shirt still. It's awesome. Thank you to those of you who have picked up a shirt. You know, last couple of times on One Drink Wednesday, we've had, like Wes was saying earlier, we have an alumni of his from his high school who's on Forged in Fire, the TV show. They take a chunk of metal and they have to make a sword out of it or some shit. It's one of those shows, like my wife and I, we watch stuff like Chopped, and they watch Forged in Fire. It's kind of the same. You start off with 5 or 6 contestants, and at the end of the show, one person wins the jackpot for that episode. But we've had, Jake Rose Music. He's a musician, part of New Medicine Rock. They've opened up. They just got done touring. Actually, they were opening up like last weekend for some major whatever. Dallas Walker. You guys look up Dallas Walker, singer. He was on One Drink Wednesday a couple weeks ago, and they both sang for us when they were on. It's super freaking cool. So make sure you guys join us on One Drink Wednesday. I'd like to see you. Tell them you came from the podcast. You know, bought some wheels for the car, having them powder coated. They came white. I wanted to do white on white, but they were so beat up. Previous owner tracked with him. Came with some nice rubber, but the rubber is beat up too. So not excited about that, but I am excited about getting the wheels and kind of making my Type S kind of stand out a little bit. So be looking for that on social media. You guys see the credit card review that I uploaded. A friend of the show sent it to me. He goes, "Here, you want your YouTube channel to blow up? Do a video on unboxing these 2 high expensive credit cards." I'm like, dude, my channel's not about that. It's not really how any of this stuff works. But I don't know. I recorded that last year, like 21, but I just in August of 2022 finally edited and uploaded, and it was a lot of fun. So go check it out. It's I'm comparing the MasterCard Black Card to the Chase Reserve, which that Chase Reserve, I don't even think it's around anymore. They changed it to something else. It used to be called the Palladium Card. But yeah, it was really good. Check it out. Tell them you came from the podcast. I want to thank Right Honda and Right Toyota at Scottsdale, Arizona, fourwheelonline.com. Of course, Sell Shop Wireless Services. Westgate Exotic Cars and Rentals. Patreon business supporter Korea Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida, as well as Pell Construction out of Caledonia, Michigan. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month to get access to bonus audio as well as show swag. Oh, you guys, a bonus audio. I got some stuff to get off my chest. That's usually what that Patreon is good for. You guys get to hear me bitch about things that I don't really talk about on the podcast. I think Mark Stolman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, Bo Jung, Alice Gamina, and Drew Bunkley. I think Byron's going to leave me soon, man. Strong supporter of the show. He's a top tier supporter, but he's probably getting tired of my shit. He made a post on Facebook the other day, and I read it. I was like, oh, did you fact check this? He's, yes, I did, actually. He's like, oh, okay, good. There's this thing where I don't like, it's so easy for people on social media to just spread negativity without fact checking. They just repost something that someone else has, and, not to pick on Byron because he's a solid dude. I love him. He needs to come back in the studio. But I think a post was made like a year or two ago when they were pushing the vaccine. I don't remember if it was Byron or not, but somebody posted it. And once I fact checked that, I was like, no, that's not what really happened. I just want to make sure all my friends, they don't fall victim because it's so easy to just post something without fact checking it. Love you guys. If you want to email the show, HardParkingPodcast@gmail.com, and follow me on Instagram at Jhae Pfenning. That's JHAEPFENNING. If I said that too fast, my name is on the podcast. You can also try Jhae Travels, JHE_Travels. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Decided I'm going to start working on a website. I've been promising a website forever. I have a bunch of domains on GoDaddy. One of them, we started building out a website with a friend of the show. I don't know what happened. He just got overwhelmed. Got busy doing other shit. Fell by the wayside. I get email reminders once a week of the theme that we picked. It got updated. No idea where that's at. This weekend I tried to make my own with one of my other domains, and I just was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to need some help. If you want to reach out and help me with that, just need a landing page. Just need something simple. It's a lot better to send people to, you can find out more at HardParkingPodcast.com, HardParkingPod.com. I have all those instead of go to Anchor.fm. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It just needs more professional for me. Put a store there, whatever else. But I can't grow that. You're telling the world how good the show is. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together. And I'll talk to you all next week.
Shut up!
Now it's stripping time.